After a couple of successful videos from my colleague Amy Stokes-Water, she has brought the challenge to me to do one myself. If you haven't seen her content, please do have a look at the link below. Some very interesting topics that she's covered, short and snappy, so not taking up too much of your time. What I'd like to discuss myself today is the internal threat landscape. For the last 15-20 years, the biggest threat to an organization has been from the inside, whether that be some malware, ransomware, a worm, a virus, some kind of Trojan, whatever the case might be that's accessed into the network, or a malicious, disgruntled employee who is on the way out and wants to steal data as they go. That problem still hasn't gone away. The problem has got worse, if anything, with the advent of the pandemic. It's now obviously under the guidelines of the government. There are restrictions for travel and restrictions for working in offices wherever possible. Working from home has got its own challenges. The corporate landscape network has now evolved from being behind the corporate firewall, which obviously organizations invest a lot of money in and configure correctly, to now being also incorporating residencies. These people that are in the residencies are obviously sat behind your standard ISP routers, of which in the last few years, there have been a number of vulnerabilities found within these routers, which will allow malicious threat actors access into the residencies network and therefore onto the corporate devices. Not only that, but the browsing capabilities, unless you have on-client web browsing filtering, the end user still has the capability to be able to browse wherever they'd like to. Whether that's in business hours or not in business hours is the next question, but they have unfettered access to the internet through their own home router, which could obviously lead to drive-by downloads and other sort of malware getting into the corporate network via the client machine. The problem that we've got in the cybersecurity industry is, how do we secure the remote users? And how do we test from an internal pen test perspective against these, what is now residency networks? The problem that you've got is that a pen tester, ethical hacker, red teamer, whatever the case might be, can't drive up to somebody's house and just try and break into their Wi-Fi. The problem that you've got there is that you're infringing on personal space. Individuals within the residency network can be kids on their iPads, husbands and wives' laptops, and a whole plethora of private and personal information that doesn't relate to anything corporate and would be an infringement on their privacy. We've spent the last 6 months trying to figure out a way of helping clients to protect their internal networks and assets, not from just the corporate network perspective, but from this now wider corporate network as well. We have invested some time and effort into developing our Vulnerability Management as a Service platform, VMAS for short. This incorporates our existing SmartScan service, which has a number of proprietary pieces of software on there, along with the use of more commercial applications as well. A combination of both of these have evolved into the VMAS service. What the VMAS service offers is a small deployable client that you can put on all your endpoint machines. What this does is it monitors and alerts for vulnerabilities within the client itself. This ranges from operating system patches, software updates, signatures, and all the kind of good stuff that you'd expect, but also looks at vulnerabilities within third-party applications as well. Very similar to what you'd expect from an internal vulnerability scanner. What this does, or what the agent does, is it gathers all this information together, pushes out to a cloud platform, which then we provide you a portal access to, login details and what have you, to be able to gather the reporting from there. This service runs in real time, so not only can you have a quarterly or monthly report delivered to you, which pulls out all the false positives and has a bit more of a manual approach to it, in that somebody's actually reviewed it, but will also give you that on-the-fly, real-time approach to vulnerability management. The information that's provided is all around the CVE codes. The severity of the vulnerability is highlighted with your standard red, amber, green traffic light system. But what we've done is also go one step further to provide some more in-depth remediation advice so that you can actually action against the vulnerabilities that are found there. What we're hoping ultimately is that this platform will evolve and include more application testing, allow you deployment across a wide variety of solutions and services within your network, as well as outside of the corporate environment on said remote devices, and hopefully secure you guys on an ongoing basis whilst everybody's working remotely. Hopefully this is the first of many videos that I will produce. And there's also an additional 10 points for anybody who can accurately determine where my accent's from. Thanks again, Amy Stokes-Water, for that challenge. Great to speak to you guys, and I hope to speak to you again. Many thanks.